Hello, Dr. Shaw here, and welcome to another episode of Teaching Humanity Remotely. For the next number of podcasts that I'm going to do, I'm going to discuss what parents seem to want out of the education of their children. I've had many parents write to me by email, which is learnwithmeremotely@gmail.com. Again, learnwithmeremotely@gmail.com. If you write to me, have questions, concerns, I will address them. So the next few podcasts are going to be addressing what parents want out of their children's education. So I took all of the letters that I received and I came up with different categories. So there's the academic piece, there's the social emotional piece, there's the value system piece, and today I'm going to share that what parents seem to want out of their children's education on this sort of developing one's personhood has to do with qualities such as hard work, honesty, commitment, and compassion. Now, of course, we can work with other parents who might want different things, but these are the positive attributes that the parents who have been communicating with me seem to want. And hard work, we can substitute that with grit. Compassion, maybe we can substitute with kindness. Commitment, we can maybe substitute with follow through. Honesty, maybe with integrity. So what I'm saying is that I'm going to take one quality per podcast and share how these values can be supported in public education, and then we'll work on the next subgroup of what the parents want academically, like critical thinking, problem-solving skills. So it's going to be a number of podcasts. So today, I want to work on the issue of honesty because I think it's a nice place to begin. And I want to share my experience by working with very, very young children. So what's really interesting about young children is that they have not learned or they have not been taught how to lie and why to lie. So in other words, a child is going to do some observing, and a child is going to see if they tell the truth, if they get in trouble. What's that going to teach them? That, in fact, may teach them to lie, right? A child is going to see if they tell the truth, if they don't get in trouble, they just get a learning lesson. That might open them up to just being able to tell the truth. So all these ways, even when they're very, very young, 2 and 3 and 4, when they're very young, parents and other caregivers are giving children learning lessons all the time, and the children are receiving them all the time. So in my classroom, now I taught kindergarten and first grade students by and large. So that means children who are entering the class maybe at 4 years old and maybe exiting the class at 8. It could be that many years. So what I taught the children right away was the gift, the positive reinforcement in praise was in being honest, telling the truth, the need to have integrity. That got reinforced. The whole classroom was set up that way. So given the fact that it was set up that way, they received the gift of being honest. Before it was internalized, they received the gift of being honest externally by them getting so positively rewarded by having the honesty be so validated and accepted and celebrated. So I just want to be able to say that. So for example, a few things I would do. I would tell the students, boys and girls, all children, if you need to do something that you need to lie about, you already know that you're doing the wrong thing. And if you are still doing the wrong thing, then you're doing two things wrong, because you're doing the wrong thing and then you're lying about it. So if you know it's wrong, think long and hard before you do it, and then there'll be a consequence. The first consequence will happen on the inside, because if you do something wrong, even if you don't get caught, it's going to make you feel bad. And I would really emphasize that it's not always about getting in trouble. It's about knowing yourself, whether you get caught or not, how it makes you feel. And that getting away with it should not make you feel good if, in fact, you know you're doing the wrong thing. So kind of giving them the opportunity of the independence, regardless of the external circumstance. How does it feel inside? That was one really important thing, because they're not always going to be around a grown-up to monitor that. And all the ways that I'm speaking now, I want to be able to say this. I think it's very important. I've shared it before. Manipulation has a very bad connotation. It seems like we're doing something wrong, when in reality, we are constantly manipulating our world to be the way we want it to be. Couples that are really successful know that timing is everything, and they're going to talk about something serious when the time is right. That could be seen as a manipulation. Grown-ups are constantly socializing children's attention to what we want them to pay attention to. That is a kind of manipulation. So manipulation, we need to start to be open to seeing that things that we once thought as negative are not necessarily negative. Manipulation is practical. It's not negative or positive. It is what it is. It is what we do. We manipulate going to school in the morning. We manipulate how we navigate traffic. We manipulate all sorts of different things. And it's okay to know, and it's important to know, that in fact, we do manipulate children and what we want them to pay attention to. We do that all the time. We say this is okay and that's not okay, and so on and so forth. So one thing I would do is I would want the children from the very, very beginning to learn that I have the expectation that they can take responsibility for their own behaviors once that is earned, once I see that they are in fact responsible. So the other thing that would happen is that when someone was honest, I really praised that. And it was never at the expense of telling on anybody. It wasn't about tattling. I used to say to the children in the class, we are what we pay attention to. So I do not want you to be paying attention to people who are doing the wrong thing. I want you to be paying attention to your classmates who are doing the right thing. Let's note it, let's mark it, and celebrate it. So all of the attention immediately changed to that which is positive. So there was no space to be negative. No one was getting the payoff of being negative. It wasn't pleasing anyone. It wasn't satisfying anyone. The first day of school, we made an agreement that everyone deserves to be accepted and feel safe and be able to take risks and not be excluded. And so if anyone was being left out or wasn't being included or wasn't being accepted, then I would say, boys and girls, we made a commitment on the first day of school. If your actions do not match your words and your thoughts, you're not being honest. And if you're not being honest, you're not having integrity. And if you're not having integrity, that's not the kind of person I want to be around. Anybody else want to be around that person? No. So it was all general. So no one got to be embarrassed, but the whole climate was set up to be positive and honest and get a lot of reinforcement for it. In a different example, just to note, it would be something like this. I liked having nice manners. I think it's nice for that to be practiced. So if in my classroom, let's say we would hand out papers and the first child didn't say thank you, and the second child didn't say thank you, and the third child didn't say thank you, and the fourth child said thank you, I would say, wow, thank you for thanking me. That really makes me feel good. And then, lo and behold, every single other child would say thank you, because that just got the focus, got the attention. I didn't make the children who didn't say thank you wrong. I didn't say thank you, because that is not nice or friendly, and it's not going to help. I just paid attention to what I wanted them to be doing. And then at the very end, I said, we might want to thank Sally, who reminded us to say thank you. So that was just a little extra. And that's sort of how I dealt with the honesty thing. If you want your child to be an honest person, then being honest needs to be reinforced. Until it gets internalized, you need to do it externally to say, I'm really glad that you showed up. You forgot your sneakers and you said that you didn't have sneakers and you asked to borrow them. Yeah, sometimes we forget. It's okay. It's okay to forget. No, I don't think you need to have your mom or dad bring your sneakers. I think this is one day you could just sit at a gym, or maybe they have an extra pair of sneakers. I think natural consequences are really important. I think it's really good we're being honest about it. So you're noting and you're marking and you're creating this environment where the expectation is that of honesty. And then the focus and the reinforcement is that of honesty. That's what's being paid attention to. So there's no place to be dishonest, because that's not being praised and that's not being supported. So they're not getting attention for getting away with something, which could make certain children feel good when that becomes the focus. Like, look how smart I am that I can get away with it. This classroom wasn't set up that way. This classroom was set up to help each other, to be our best, to have that honesty. And it's also a matter of showing, like, let's say you find a wallet in the street as the parent. Do you keep the money, or do you show your child that you're returning it to the establishment where it probably was lost, and you're hoping that that's going to get found? So you model honesty and you promote honesty. And again, remember, we are what we pay attention to. So it's all about that. We are creating children by showing who we are. We are either going to show that directly through direct intentional modeling, or we are going to have our children learn how to be in the world based on our unconscious intentions of how we're behaving without wanting them to see. So I choose to really try to be very intentional and clear about what I want my children, my grandchildren, children that I go visit in classrooms to see. And I am intentional about it by noting it and marking it and behaving in a way that I want to promote that kind of behavior. So if you want honesty, you give honesty. If you want integrity, you give integrity. So please let me know if this resonates with you. And then next week, we're going to talk about how to promote hard work. So again, every podcast is going to have a certain theme of what parents have contacted me saying that they want us to discuss and how to promote that. And in a nutshell, I'll say, as a sneak preview for all of our future podcasts when it comes to these kinds of subjects, modeling is how children learn. So let's be very mindful of that. Until next time, please feel free to visit my books at Dr. Mindy Shaw paperbacks at Amazon, or visit me at my email at learnwithmeremotely@gmail.com. Thank you.